A person who is sort of relentlessly positive is our next speaker, and it's my privilege to introduce the governor. Now, a year ago, I disregarded all of the bios that you all know so well, and turned out that I was really pleased that he was one of those really smart nerds, as he advertised in his campaign ads on TV. Turns out he is really smart. And remarkably curious about all things that he has to deal with. Not simply smart in the sense of being able to put together pieces and make a decision in front of him, but really curious and visionary about a future. And not simply thinking about things as, what's the next step we need to do to solve this problem, but how do we have a big vision, a big idea, and what are the steps we're going to be doing. Some are incremental and some are really game changers in order to have that future more possible for Michigan. He reminds me in some ways of another an MSU alum, because he's a University of Michigan alum, a guy named Eli Broad, who just wrote a book called The Art of Unreasonable. And in that book, Broad says that you should never essentially ask why, you should ask why not when you're pursuing big ideas. And you also should be able to think about having unleashed ambition. That no matter what the circumstances, it shouldn't limit your ambition to be great. And that's what we have in our governor. Governor Snyder?
Well, thank you for that great welcome. It's great to be here. And President Simon, thank you for that wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. In my inaugural talk, I did bring up a topic that we do have to live, and that's the old unbelievable is the new achievable. And that's why it's exciting to be here at Michigan State. And that's why I want to thank President Simon and Dean Bueller for all their hard work, because it is about taking what was thought to be unbelievable and making it the new achievable. So thank you so much for being our host today and for all your hard work. I also want to thank the Undersecretary for being here. I really appreciate his presence. In particular, I was excited to hear his background, one, coming from a farm background, but secondly, his area of responsibility, which is exports. And that's one of the topics I'm going to talk about. So it's great to have the opportunity to see how we can build those ties and bonds. And the other person I'm excited to be, for the first time on stage with, in her new role, is Jamie Clover Adams. I'm very excited to have her as our Director of Agriculture and Rural Development. I believe she's going to do a fabulous job, and I'd also like to thank Keith Cray for his fine work and wish him well at the Department of Natural Resources. We have a good team, but we're here to serve you, so thank you for all your support. Now, there are three simple things I want to do this morning. First of all, there's a thank you. Secondly, there's an update. And third, there's a challenge. The first thing is the thank you, because it's something I always want to emphasize. I want to say thank you to the ag community. We went through a tough decade, last decade. We were at the bottom of the rest of the United States. And the one shining light we had that really stood out was agriculture. The success of the ag community. That you didn't get the credit you deserved, but you continued to do well. You continued to do what you've done for years before. And that's simply do things well and create a culture of success and have strong leadership and just be successful in making great products for the rest of the world and for us. And so in a very simple way, I want to start by saying thanks. This year is a more challenging year. The weather is not working well. We had major challenges, particularly for our fruit crops early in the year. And hopefully we responded to help that situation. And it continues to be a challenging year. But overall, you should remember, you've been a shining light for the entire state of Michigan. And you should take great pride in that. And I just want to say thank you. Now, a quick update in terms of what are the big three pillars that I like to talk about for agriculture. And I'm going to add a couple others because I think they're important. The three focus areas when President Simon talked about what we focus in as government is how do we give great customer service to our citizens, in particular the ag industry. There are three things. One, research and development. And again, we have one of the world's best institutions here with Michigan State University. We also have great companies and organizations doing research. And we need to continue that collaboration, and we are making progress. But we cannot take it for granted. As we know, we're globalizing more, the world's changing, we have weather challenges. We need to be more thoughtful and create the vision of what we can do in difficult situations to be even more successful, to stand out from the rest of the country and the world. And that's one of the things that we are making progress, but I think we need to redouble those efforts to continue to stay focused on that. The second big topic is value-added processing. We're great producers in this state. We do some great value-added processing, but we should do more. It's very straightforward. We have opportunity. We've seen those opportunities in prior years go to other states and other places. We should be doing more value-added processing right here in Michigan. And in terms of the government's role, it's not to buy people into value-added processing, but we can play an important role in being a clearinghouse, a coordination center, on bringing players, partners together, creating opportunities and making situations happen in terms of providing great customer service. And we are focused and committed to playing that role. Now the third one is export. Export is our opportunity. If you look at where the globe is going, we have a fabulous opportunity for growth. We should be doubling our exports over the next few years. If we're not doing our job. We know how to grow things. We know how to make things. We should be selling them to everyone around the world that we can. And so we need to engage in that process. And again, that's why it's great to have the Undersecretary here, is how do we create that dialogue? How do we get more and better information to you and to your colleagues about how do we export? How do we make those opportunities happen? And how do we facilitate that process to make it easy? Now that ties into two other topics I'll mention briefly. One we also need to work on is the talent side of things, of making sure we have the best, most talented people to go into the ag industry of the future, whether it be production, whether it be value-added processing, whether it be the export marketplace. And we are committed to that. And that's something we need to talk about and communicate better, is how advanced and what skill sets we need to give to our young people to be successful. It was really exciting today. I love seeing the FFA kids signing people in this morning. I gave them a lot of credit for wearing those blue jackets in this heat. But we need to continue to develop those programs and get a lot of parents to understand how sophisticated, how important agriculture is, how it's not a low-tech industry. It's actually a high-tech field. We just don't like to brag about it that way. But if you look at what's required to produce a crop today, I would argue it's as high technology as almost any other field you can think of. And we should be talking about that more and clearer, and making sure our young people understand what a great opportunity that is. So there's good opportunity there. So let's continue to work on these thoughts and ideas. In terms of the challenge, though, I want to challenge people. And why do I do that? Because we have accomplished a lot. I did thank you for fabulous accomplishments. But that's why I'm challenging you. I know you can do more, and you want to do more. So two challenge areas in particular. One is exporting, and I'll come back to that again. And I want to thank you for support of a particular project, something called a bridge. If you look at the exports out of Michigan, we export about a third of what we produce. 60% of those exports go to Canada. If we want to talk about doubling our exports, we're going to need another bridge. It's about jobs. It's not about just a bridge. It's not about construction jobs. It's about real jobs. It's about ag jobs. And so that's why I'd appreciate your support on the bridge project. You've been good supporters so far, but I hope you continue that, because there is one special interest that's spending millions of dollars with misleading information that's simply making money at our expense that wants to stop it. This bridge needs to go forward, because if you look at the path to your future, the path to exports, the path to jobs, the path to a prosperous future for ag, it's about selling things to other countries and other people. And the very best path to that is going across to Canada. So let's get this bridge built and let's work together on that project. The second challenge item I have for you is more a fun one, but it's an important one. And I want to thank the Michigan Ag Council for partnering with the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and the Department of Agriculture on making that happen. And it's the Pure Michigan theme. In June, we kicked it off with Pure Michigan Agriculture. And it was great. I was coming into Lansing yesterday on 496, and it was with pride. I looked up and I saw a billboard that said Pure Michigan Agriculture. We need to be proud of agriculture, and we need to promote it more. And this morning, we're helping kick off Pure Michigan Farmer. And I'm proud to be wearing that shirt today. The only comment I gave our team, you might appreciate this, is I gave them a hard time as I said, God knows, why isn't it a green shirt? I'm coming to Michigan State. So I assume somebody will be working on doing a green version if there isn't one already. But if you think about it, we're launching that with the Ag Council. I think you've seen materials on your table. We're kicking that off. But it does two things. It's not just a nice thing to do. It's an important thing to do. And why do I say that? One, it's a way to spread the message to other Michiganders about the importance of agriculture and farming. And if you're not, we need you to be proud and bold in talking about Pure Michigan agriculture and farming. Because isn't it important that the rest of our citizens understand the importance of this industry? And this is a great way to do that. The second thing it does, though, is more than just Michigan. It gets back to that export message. One of the great challenges we have is a lot of the country and a lot of the world has sort of written Michigan off as the bottom state. Now, if you want to come back with from the bottom, what do you have to do? You got to start talking about what you're doing well. You got to start getting some attitude. And for too long, we've been too quiet. It's great being a humble Midwesterner. I'm proud of that. But if we don't advertise, who will? And we have got to send the message around this nation and around the world that we're proud of being Michiganders. That this is the place to be. That we're giving you great products and services all around the globe. And the best way to do that is to have a theme to do that within. So as you look at this, don't think about this as, hey, I got another shirt to add to the 25 other shirts I've got. I've got another pin to add to the whole collection of pins so I can put it on my jacket and be proud with the 50 other pins. We need some attitude. And we need of you to go out and tell people that agriculture in Michigan is critical and that Michigan is the comeback state in the United States. We're leading the country back in terms of the economy, but we're not going to stop there. We are going to take on the challenge of making the old unbelievable the new achievable, to say Michigan's going back to the top. And the best way to do that is for you to put on that shirt, to put on that pin, to go tell your friends and neighbors, to go tell the person when you go to that out-of-state conference, Michigan is the pure place to be, and let's get it done. So come out of here today with an attitude.